So, what's going on? I'm Doc Caesar and I'm joined by a rival. We're going to try something new today and do a gaming what if story. We're going to start with a crossover with Devil May Cry and Soul Calibur. Since the Soul Calibur series is kinda niche,
and the story can be more confusing than the episode of Legion.
let's get into some backstory before we begin.
First up, this is following the storyline from Soul Calibur 6, since this is the current timeline in the series. There are two swords that act as the game's main protagonists and antagonists.
Yes, you heard that right. Two swords are the main characters in this series.
And they are the Soul Calibur and Soul Edge respectively.
The Soul Edge is a sword that devours souls and corrupts the user unless they have a will that is unshakable. It also carries a curse called Malfestation, which can increase the user's strength at the cost of mutating their appearance. The sword will slowly eat away at its user and manipulate them to do whatever it wants, which usually is to devour more souls to power it up.
Your soul is mine.
The Soul Calibur, on the other hand, functions very similar to the Soul Edge, but trades the curses and soul devouring for healing properties and a vitality boost. Like the Soul Edge, the Soul Calibur also needs a wielder with a very strong will. The two swords are supposed to be roughly equal in power, although sometimes the Soul Edge does appear to be a bit stronger. Both swords have the ability to shapeshift into whatever form the user is comfortable with. Whenever the Soul Edge is creating chaos in the world, the Soul Calibur tends to appear to stop it and restore order.
Oh, and did we mention the Soul Edge is a guy and Soul Calibur is a girl? Anyway, we won't spend as much time on Devil May Cry's backstory since it's a bit more well known. The important things to know is that an incredibly powerful demon named Sparta had two half-human twin sons. Dante grew up to be a demon hunter with smoke and sick style and a wide arsenal of weaponry he uses to send demons back to the underworld. He can be pretty cocky and usually taunts his opponents, but he always has the skills to back it up.
Vergil, his twin brother, is pretty much equal in strength but has the opposite personality. He's much more calm and serious, but also pretty cold and ruthless. Vergil is not necessarily evil, but he won't hesitate to cut anyone down to reach his goals. Though typically, his goal is just one simple thing: to obtain more power.
I need more power.
Despite being brothers, these two always seem fated to battle one another. With that out of the way, let's rock.
We begin this story with Vergil not long before the events of Devil May Cry 3. Of course, he's currently doing what he always seems to be doing, looking to obtain more power.
Yeah, because Vergil has literally nothing better to do with his free time.
During his travels, Vergil comes across a frightened demon who appears to be running away from something. Vergil stops the demon and asks him what is he running from. The demon tells him he was attacked by a suit of armor wielding a large demonic sword.
Vergil immediately thinks of the Devil Sword Sparta, and now he's getting motivated. In Vergil's mind, no one is worthy to wield that sword except a son of Sparta, so he decides to go and collect the sword from this thief. After the demon tells him where the sword is located, Vergil thanks him.
By slicing him in half, of course. When Vergil makes it to the area, he finds Kilik and Xianghua fighting Nightmare. Despite seeing that it was not the Devil Sword Sparta, he could feel the massive power within the Soul Edge. He realizes the sword might be exactly what he is looking for and decides to take the sword for himself. Vergil steps in between the fight and says, "I'll be taking that sword," and with a quick slash severs Nightmare's arm. Before Kilik and Xianghua can process what just happened, Vergil picks up the sword. Believing Nightmare to be a demon, Vergil finishes him off with the Soul Edge. Kilik tries to warn Vergil about the darkness that resides in the Soul Edge, but his words don't reach him. The Soul Edge has already begun to corrupt Vergil's mind. The sword's influence causes him to attack Kilik and Xianghua.
Due to their battle with Nightmare, Vergil quickly overwhelms them and was about to deliver the final blow when time suddenly stops. Sazlamel arrives just in time to defeat the Soul Edge's new host. He stabs Vergil through the heart with his scythe and then releases the time-stopping curse. Vergil falls to his knees and begins coughing up blood. Zazlamel reaches down to grab the Soul Edge from Vergil's hands when he hears, "Foolishness." In an instant, Vergil stands and dices Azlamel up with a flurry of slashes.
Just like we've seen with Dante, a stab through the heart is not enough to kill Vergil.
Kilik and Xianghua used this opportunity to escape before Vergil brought his attention back to them.
So we return to Vergil, but now the Soul Edge's influence has proved to be more than he can handle. Vergil has now become almost fully corrupted by the sword, taking on a malfested form. His appearance and demeanor have become more demonic as the Soul Edge eats away at his humanity.
He kinda looks like this now.
To satisfy both his own hunger for power and the Soul Edge's thirst for souls, Vergil has been attacking towns and slaughtering their citizens.
Dante eventually learns of a powerful demon slaughtering people and decides to stop it himself. When he arrives, he is shocked to find out the demon he was hunting is a corrupted version of his brother.
In typical Dante fashion, he has to make a joke about his brother's appearance.
He says something like, "Well, I guess we finally know who the handsome brother is."
Vergil responds saying, "Your lack of power disgusts me, Dante. But since we share the same blood, your soul will be the perfect feast for the Soul Edge." The two brothers begin fighting, but Dante is clearly outmatched. Vergil manages to take the rebellion from Dante, and he throws it straight through his chest.
Because what would a Devil May Cry story be without Dante getting impaled through the chest?
Just as Dante loses consciousness, Kilik and Xianghua arrive. Kilik tells Vergil things won't go how they did last time, and he transforms into his malfested form. Not to be outdone, Vergil also transforms with his devil trigger, surprising both of them. Despite realizing that Vergil was much stronger than they thought, Kilik and Xianghua know they have to stop him here, so they attack him. They put up a better fight than last time, but even with Kilik at full power, the duo still can't gain the upper hand.
Suddenly, a flash of light blinds them all and interrupts their fight. When they look over in the direction of the light, they find an awakened Dante in his devil trigger form. As if reacting to Dante's power, Xianghua's sword begins to glow and reveal itself to be the Soul Calibur. With their new powers, the three of them charge Vergil for one final battle. Their combined power finally allows them to defeat Vergil. After the battle is over, Xianghua uses the Soul Calibur to shatter their Soul Edge and put the world back in order.
So we hope you enjoyed the story. We thought this would be an interesting idea to try something a bit different on this channel. It's our first time doing something like this, but feel free to give us any criticisms. Let us know in the comments if you have any ideas that you want to see in the future. If you want to see more what if stories, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you all next time.